Hello and welcome to Twickenham for the 36th varsity match between Oxford and Cambridge. This historic match at the home of rugby. Two teams desperately trying to take the trophy away with them this time. Cambridge have their hands firmly on it. In fact, the 10-all draw last time meant they retained the trophy. You have to go back all the way to 2016 for the last time Oxford won it, and they will be desperately trying to take that one back up the M40 this time for the first time in quite some years. Well, joining me on the expert panel, you can see alongside me right now, three ladies that know rugby like the back of their hands. Well, to start with, Rachel Burford is here. Rachel, you've been a part of this for quite a long time with these commentaries. It's great to see you here. England World Cup winner, Grand Slam winner, and plies your trade just across the road there at the Stoop with Harlequins. Then we have Rocky Clark. Now, Rocky, England's second most capped player. It's great to have you here with your experience, and Anna Stodter at the end there. Coach, former coach at Cambridge, played for Saracens and for Scotland as well. Now, it's great to see you all here. I'm going to start with you, Rocky, though, because you've come out of these tunnels onto these pitches quite a few times in your career, as we say. What do you do with the nerves? How do you get yourselves into the mindset, and what will the players behind us go through as they head out here today?
Yeah, obviously it's a massive game for them, and it's so important that they soak up the atmosphere and they take in every moment, because it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing playing here for most people. So it's about sticking to your processes when you're on the pitch, but just before, trying to stay calm, think about what you're going to do first, and then can you apply it when you come out, and really just try and stay in the moment. Enjoy the few seconds as you run out and the applause and everything, but then you're into your match play.
Well, Anna, you were a part of this last year with the Cambridge team. Now, how easy is it for the players to enjoy the moment? As Rocky says, it is important that you do so, but with all the pressure that they're putting on themselves and each other throughout this afternoon, it must be tough.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of pressure, and I think none of these players are under any illusion about the massive privilege that it is to play at Twickenham and to be part of such a momentous occasion. But I think in the past we've really emphasised allowing themselves to acknowledge that, and take a moment perhaps when you arrive at the stadium, take it all in, and then you have a bit of a switch. Now's the time to focus on those processes, as Rocky said, that you've been working on throughout the whole season.
Rachel, the easiest question for you really is, what are we going to be expecting? What should we expect from the players this afternoon when it comes to the women's match?
Well, I think we're going to see a contrast of styles. You've got Cambridge, really strong, solid platform in their pack, really direct, dynamic, and then you've got the contrast of Oxford, love to throw the ball around. We've seen the danger women in the wide channels, so I'd love to see those two contrasting teams come together. Oxford coming in with 2 wins under their belt, so we'll be full of confidence, but they'll be wary of this Cambridge side because the last fixture was extremely tight against them, so I'm expecting a really enjoyable game.
We certainly hope so. That's the thought of the panel, but what about the captains? Well, we caught up with them last week. Here's what they had to say.
Our preparation for Varsity Match has really been good. I feel like our trajectory has been on the up from the whole season, and we're really getting down to crunch time. It's looking good.
Our preparation has been full of ups and downs, but one thing that our team have had throughout the entire season, but especially leading up to Varsity, is the determination, the drive to keep getting better, to keep improving. And because of that, even in the last few weeks, week in, week out, training session in, training session out, you're seeing improvements. So I'm really excited for the 25th of March.
My team's strength is just that, their strength. We've got some really big, strong runners and some huge tacklers and people that are going to really make an influence on the day.
I think our biggest strength as a team is that we play really exciting rugby. We have some really exciting players with phenomenal skill sets, and this means that actually from any position on the pitch, I would back us to score just because we can see an opportunity and we back ourselves enough to execute on that opportunity.
I think the main threat from Oxford this year, having played them twice already, is their backs. Their open running and passing, especially in that 10-12 region, is really something that we've highlighted as something that we need to shut down.
Cambridge are a team that are big ball carriers, and I think this is their biggest threat that they pose to us. So we just need to make sure that in defence we're really solid. We want to make those tackles, and we do because we want to win.
I think this game is going to be won and lost on discipline. I think the team that managed to keep their penalty count down and play some really clean, good rugby, they'll be the ones that come out on top.
Rugby, in my mind, is a game that's played inside people's heads. So this varsity match in particular is a very emotional game. So it's a game that's going to be won and lost inside our heads. It's a game about who wants it more, and I'm confident that our team wants it more.
Winning varsity match is, it's everything. It's what the whole term, your whole season at Cambridge, and I'm sure it is at Oxford, is leading up to. It's the big grand finale, and it means so much to me personally, but also I know it means so much to every single player on my team.
I played in varsity last year, and I don't think I really clocked on how much it meant before we drew and before we didn't have the win and before being on the pitch. Varsity is the culmination of an entire season and also the journey you've been on with everybody around you. So it means a huge amount to win. It's just a really special feeling that you've got to this position with 22 other people who you're very close with.
I'm really happy with my team. We've got a good load of returning Blues coming that are in their second or even third varsity matches. But we've also got some good newbies, and you should keep a watch out for some of them. Two in particular, Grace and Phoebe, both forwards. You'll see them make a difference. I don't need to say anything else.
We're in the lucky position that we have quite a few returning Blues this year. So Clodagh Holmes has got phenomenal pace up the wing and in full-back. Chloe Murray-Hawley has also been fantastic this year, playing 10. I'm also really excited about the new talent that we've got in, especially Sophie Shams and Alex Wilkinson in the backs. They've got a lot of professional experience, and they've really challenged even the returning Blues to up their game by a little bit.
Well, there we go. Some determined captains just there. Lauren Webb saying they are very determined. They think they are going to win, that it's all for them. If I turn our attention to Oxford with you, Anna, I know you got the Cambridge hat on there, but last year Clodagh Holmes was a real weapon for them, and every time she got hold of the ball, she looked like magic could happen. From a Cambridge point of view, how much of a focus did you put on the likes of Clodagh Holmes?
Yeah, I mean, she's an exciting player, and they have a lot of talent through their squads, particularly in the backs. Sophie Shams, for example, part of the Saracen setup, starting at 12, and Cambridge will be well aware of that. They've obviously played each other twice already this season, and Cambridge have come out on the losing side. So they'll be aware of the threats that Oxford pose, but also they can't focus too much on that. They have to focus on their own strengths, Cambridge, and sort of play to those, because that's what they can control, and they can't control anything about what Oxford are doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. You say that they lost both times. It was much tighter the second game they played. Cambridge say their strength is their strength, Rocky. I mean, what do we read into that?
Yeah, so we saw last year how strong they are within their forwards, so I think it's really important today that they stick to their forward game, keep it nice and close, stick it up their jumper, lots of picks and goes, plays off of 9, and really take it to Oxford, because Oxford really struggled with taking their big ball carriers down, but we know on the contrast, Oxford are really fast, have got their speedsters out wide.
Yeah, absolutely. Stick it up their jumper, Rachel. There you go. That's one way of doing it. What are you expecting? Which way is this going to go?
I think it's really interesting. I think whichever team can come out and manage those emotions early on, it's an incredible occasion. It's a big moment. You want to, like Rocky said, you want to take that all in and soak it up. But how do you get straight into the game? Focused, switched on, making sure you get control nice and early. And I think discipline will be huge for both teams. Whichever team can manage the discipline around the park is going to put them in a really good place. So I haven't got an answer for you, because I think it's going to be really tight. But whoever can come out and manage those emotions early on and get into the game will come out on top.
Manage the emotions, keep 15 on the park. That is crucial, and the players are not long away from coming out on the pitch. So let's hand you over to your commentator for this match, Simon Ward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our viewers in the UK and around the world today. This match being viewed in over a dozen countries, including South Africa, USA, Canada, China, Hong Kong. Great to have you with us on such a big day. Well, Lauren Webb and Amelia Bushrod were key characters in last year's matchup, a match which ended with nothing between the two teams. Plenty of memories still there from 12 months ago, albeit with some different personalities within the dark blue and light blue ranks today. Now, of course, before we get play underway, we are going to have some formalities, the first of which will be the presentation of the High Sheriffs. Jennifer Crompton, the High Sheriff of Cambridgeshire, will be coming out with Mark Beard, the Chairman of Beard Construction, and the High Sheriff of Oxfordshire. Always so much adrenaline rushing through those young bodies, but they've just got to put everything on hold for now. There's the officials. Rebecca Piddleston there in the middle, the first RAF woman to referee a men's inter-services match, so she's been used to some high-pressure matches. Casey Allen and Fiona Brunt alongside her for this one. Those in dark blue, but first we're going to have the anthem God Save the King, led by Matilda Pratt and George Butler. So the anthems are done. They're going to go now with the High Sheriff's presentation. There they go out to meet the two teams. Part of the unique formalities of this varsity day. What a day it is. Such a special moment for so many young people. Amelia Bushrod.
Hello, sir.
Welcome Jennifer Compton. Hiddleston just having a word with Mark Beard before he says hello to Lauren Webb and the rest of the dark blue lineup.
Cannot. You've seen the little charge.
The smiles on the faces tell you a lot about the relaxed atmosphere within the groups. And in a minute, the focus will come on, and everything they've been working for over these two terms will be coming to fruition, or so they hope. So the High Sheriffs have done their bit. Now the teams will break out. So Becky Piddleston tells the teams to get ready. Let's take a look at the two teams. The makeover for both teams is quite extensive. There's over half of the Cambridge side were on parade in 2022. There's an established and athletic engine room with Brendan Schneeman back again. Gomez Giljaspic is back also, this time though as loose head. Watch out for the new tight head, Grace Izinian. She can blast open defences from 5 paces. Behind them, well, there's the likes of Vass, Bell and Twig, capable of capitalising on any openings they see.
Rebecca.
When we look at the other side, well, there's a handful of dark blues that were here last year. Significantly, Chloe Marie Hawley moves off the wing to take responsibility at 10. There's experience either side of her. Saracen Sophie Shams joins Alex Travers in a formidable centre partnership. Former England under-20 Alex Wilkinson will feed that back line. Watch out for Webb and Skinner in the breakaways. They will have a big say, you would think, in the outcome of this one. So the 36th women's varsity, the first in 1988 at Iffley Road. Cambridge won since then. Well, Cambridge have won another dozen, but Oxford have 21 days to smile about. The draw last year, of course, something a little bit unique. There is quite a strong breeze around, but difficult to gauge within the Stadium Bowl how that is going to affect things. We'll keep an eye if the rarity, really, in the women's game of kicking from hand, as I say that. Up goes the ball. And we're going to have to be wary of that. Nancy Twigg struggling to pick up the flight, and as a consequence, the penalty is given away. So Oxford effecting the exit. And they, as ever, at the beginning of these encounters, just looking to put things into place. The kick there, not finding its requisite touch, and Phoebe Jackson breaks out. Laura Vass feeds out to Ellie O'Keefe. And I think the referee is just going to have a word here. In fact, she's happy to... Yeah, just quietening Hilda Schneemann down. I'm Simon Ward. Alongside me, World Cup winner Rachel Burford. Rach, these two teams have played each other before, and Oxford have won both, albeit by a reduced margin in the second game. Psychologically, is that in the minds of these players now?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I think, yeah, absolutely. I think from an Oxford perspective, you know, they'll be coming in with plenty of confidence, but they'll also be aware, you know, that final fixture, very, very close, 12-17. So they'll know that the threats that Cambridge do offer, but that psychological edge will be with Oxford at the moment.
But a friend is going to be very prevalent in positions like this, such an athletic second row. Exploring a little bit wider. Laura Vass has got to be careful though. Lauren Webb is over the ball, illegally so, says the referee, and Webb is going to have to get on the right side of the ref as that 7 plays out. Had such an important impact last year, and I think you gave her the player of the match, didn't you, Rach? Such was her influence on the way that Oxford were playing.
Yeah, she was brilliant last year. She was everywhere across the park, you know, whether that was dominance in a ball carrying or being able to turn the ball over at critical moments. She'll be again influential today, but it's been exciting to see the way that Cambridge have opened up in this first few moments. Last year definitely saw more of a physical battle, but we're seeing them move the ball, play the ball out the back, so it's exciting to see. And
using Friend again off the fly half to try and make some headway in midfield before it's released down that back line. Ref says play on, so O'Keefe does.
Hold.
Lots of these players have come up through the third 15s and second 15s. There's our first take on Grace Azinian, the president of the Cambridge Athletics team. That is an excellent kick. That is just what the Light Blues wanted.
Yeah, it was brilliant work from Phoebe Jackson, the number 10. Just comes across, spots there's a bit of space in the outside, but she's got too much time on her hand. Oxford just sitting off and allowing her to just take her time, see the space. And it's really well executed just before the line, and that piles back the pressure onto Oxford in their own 22.
Yeah, pressure on Annabelle Rand with her first line-out throw. It works. Success for the Dark Blues. Now going to try and make some hard yards out with Sophie Shams. Shams keeping the ball alive. Hawley moves it out. Just getting out of alignment there before Sarah Skinner was released. There is the American, the 34th Rhodes Scholar from the US Naval Academies. Looking to have a big impact on the way the Dark Blues play. We've got a US Naval star. We've also got a Canadian sniper in the other side, so There will be no backward step this afternoon, you can be assured. Vianney Gomez-Giljaspic, the aforementioned Canadian Army member, first Mexican ever to play in this varsity, wearing the #1 shirt for the Light Blues today, #3 last year. Bushrod, making sure everybody's in position. Once again, it's Friend first up to offer. There's Izinian. She's going to take tacklers with her. Such is the power of the light blue tight head. Rose Scowen earning her 4th blue this afternoon. There's the break, and it's the captain who goes over. Emilia Bushrod has the first try on the board inside 6 minutes. 5 points, Cambridge to the good.
Well, this would have been just the start that they wanted. Really starting to stress Oxford. Big carries through the middle, which then draws them in really tight. But it's the clever little snipe from the 9, just being aware, keeping her head up, scanning around. She's been excellent, just distributing, moving the ball away quickly, then suddenly just completely opens up. The defence isn't organised around the breakdown. And she is pleased, leading the side and getting her team on the scoreboard first.
I don't think please does it really, does it? The elation in the Welsh girls' face there proudly tells me that the last 4 Cambridge captains have been, 3 have been Welsh, and carrying on that tradition now this afternoon. Former flanker, of course, hasn't always worn the 9 shirt. Well, there's something that we didn't see last year. A successful kick from the tee. Polly Hipkiss doing the job. A footballer for Oxfordshire County back in the day, now doing the job for Cambridge and the Light Blues. Of course, 10 points apiece. It was at the end of last year. What an incredible game it turned out to be. Skinner coming through hard at the breakdown. The counter ruck almost working.
Use it now.
Cambridge having to put reinforcements in to make sure it came out that side. Scowen making her 50th appearance for the Light Blues today. That is some achievement. Again, Cambridge looking to run it out, but this time losing the ball in the contact.
Back foot, back foot.
That was an important tackle from Sophie Shams, because if she could have got the ball away, there was acres of space out there. Really good defensive read.
Tough defence, but good strength and good continuity from the Dark Blues.
Stay there.
Working their way into Cambridge territory for the first time. They're going to go back for that call against Header Friend, transgressing the offside line. Just get the feeling the Dark Blues need to settle themselves now. It's all been about their opposition.
Yeah, and you just feel ever since the try, there's just been a bit more urgency about them. They know that they need to create opportunities and they have to take them. Cambridge were completely in control until the turnover. You just feel that Oxford now banging on the door, trying to apply the pressure back onto Cambridge. Skinner's been already right in the thick of things.
So another line out for Rand. It works, sort of. Webb reacting quickly, and into midfield it goes for Alex Travers.
No hands, White.
The likes of Shams, Travers, Holmes, of course, at full-back as well.
Backwards. Also backwards.
Skinner trying to work it back, but see how that light blue line moves up, and Emily Bell gorges on the loose ball.
You're fine. Knock on here. You're fine.
Well,
Knock on.
the cheering that you can hear from the stands has an East Anglian flavour, I would think, right now.
Here's your mark.
Yeah, just celebrating Cambridge, just their effort there defensively. You know, any bouncing ball, any ball time in the air, they're just eating up the space, which is putting pressure on Oxford, and then just forcing the errors, forcing the passes, not on their own terms, and then leads to an error and a turnover.
10 minutes gone. And we see a scrum on halfway.
Bind! Set! You wait there, 9. Take a step.
Bushrod. Jackson. Finding a different line in that midfield. No way through for Laura Vass this time. And the counter-up
Use it now.
almost works. Friend it is who picks up and drives. Been playing for Wasps in the Premier 15s. Wilkinson. Puts that little chip. Plenty of time for Nancy Twigg to sort out, but loses the ball. I think that was Webb pilfering the ball. There she is, the Oxford captain. Wilkinson to Skinner. Wilkinson goes quickly. They will play under the advantage. Webb tries scorer. Last year, of course, that put the Dark Blues in front. A lead they couldn't hold on to. Kitty Levinson with a good leg drive. The first visit of Oxford into the Cambridge 22. Shams, little 1-2. They cut back in. Travers and Holmes. Oh, she does very well to keep it in touch. Fiona Brunt on this near side, the assistant referee, almost thought that she'd gone out.
Yeah, she did so well to keep the ball in, was really aware of where that sideline was and just let go of the ball. But some really lovely play. The big carries through the middle is what's shortening up Cambridge, and then just the simple hands. Lovely offload from Holmes. We spoke about how dangerous she can be in a little bit of space, but drawing defenders in, offloading, starting to cause Cambridge some problems.
There's Fiona Brunt. Big day for the assistant referee as well, because her dad's going to be the AR2 in the men's game. Casey Allen on the other side as well, so a memorable game for many this afternoon. Big opportunity here for the Dark Blues to make a mark on the scoreboard.
Happy? Yeah? Okay. Time back on.
Checking to see that Gomez Giljaspic is fit and able. There she is. Oh, that's great work at the front of the Cambridge line-out. And the breakaway from Emily Bell. I think it was Buzz Gilks. Oh, who's going to pick this one up? It's gone back, and it's back in the Oxford ranks. An opportunity here. Shams to Travers, direct line from the outside centre.
Leave it.
Wilkinson. Hawley. Oh, that's beautiful transference. Clodagh Holmes pulled down just short. She was such a threat in the first half last year.
Pen advantage.
Out it goes to Rand. The Oxford forwards lining up. A moment of glory beckons. Big collision between Levinson and Isinyan.
Back foot.
Wilkinson. Hawley. Shams. Opportunity surely going to happen now. There it is. Clodagh Holmes opens the Oxford account inside a quarter of an hour. And Oxford making the most of opportunity. The fullback in position to finish it off.
Well, she was only in position because of her work rate. She initially was on the right-hand side of the pitch, but worked her way all over to the left-hand side to be the extra hands. And Bell can't do anything there to stop. Frustrating times for Cambridge, as it all came from the charge down, and they could have had control to exit. But we've talked about how strong Holmes is with the ball in hand, how dangerous and lethal she can be. And she brings it back for her team and gets them over.
Very efficient execution from Oxford there, Rach, because they worked the position, they pulled in the defenders, and then the skills were there to get the ball out to the left.
Absolutely, you could probably argue they could have scored on the right-hand side if they let the ball do the work, but then just stayed patient. Sometimes you don't take the right option, but it's all about staying patient, building towards that, and they certainly did that in the end.
Anna Bennett can't add the extras on this occasion, but they will be buoyed by that first score.
And here, it's a free ball, isn't it? They've got an opportunity and advantage from the referee, but it's the simple things done so well. Sophie Shams, the timing of her pass to release the outside centre and then to release the fullback. That will now give them plenty of energy and plenty of confidence after coming back from the try from Cambridge.
So, both sides on the board. Here is Sophie Shams, a member of the Saracens group, of course.
No, leave it now.
Fascinating character. Actually attended summer training camps at Saracens when she was a kid on holidays from school in Dubai. And here we are all these years later. Oh, she's had the ball pickpocketed by Emily Bell.
Body, not ball.
Bell setting up position for the light blues. Friend, as ever, first up in line.
Use it.
Scowen waiting.
No. Ball's available.
Bushrod waits for Izenian to get there. Grace Izenian, such power from the shot putter. It's going to do so much damage. Scowen. Good defence from the dark blues at the moment. Just edging Cambridge away from the try line. Schneeman.
High.
Dutch second rower unable to make any headway there. A high shot call, and they would go. Oh, she's turned turtle. Gomez Gil Jaspic thought she saw
Not 10.
the glory that she saw at the end of last year's varsity. It's not to be. Jeff Piddleston is going to take them back for not 10 though from that last kick. Bushrod asks Phoebe Jackson to set up the line out. No, she's going to change it. Izenian's over. I don't think, oh, she got it. Yes, she has. It was the tight head who scored for Cambridge last year. It's the tight head this year. Grace Izenian is on the try scoring board in a varsity match.
Well,
and doesn't she love it?
And she certainly deserves it. She has been carrying through the thick of this team. Often 3 or 4 players hanging off her, which is giving her team the momentum and just powers her way through. A special athlete. But it all came from Bell, that intercept, that clever play, keeping her eye on Shams and managed to get thread between the 2 defenders and turn the ball over. But here it's all about power, leg drive, determination. And the ball does come
the try
away.
is good, the ball travels backwards and is then grounded.
Exactly, from TMO.
The try is confirmed by TMO Nikki O'Donnell. Because the ball went backwards, there was no issue. So, second try in the bag for the light blues. Polly Hipkiss looking to add the second conversion. Bounces it off the upright. Just take a look at this, Rach.
Yeah, if you're going to get somebody to try and power over the line, she's the woman. So you just see here, she comes over and Skinner does a really good job, but because it goes backwards, she can just ground the ball there.
Izenian, the lady from London at Darwin College now, doing her MPhil in architecture and urban design and having a big impact on the rugby. Only started in October. So many of these players have only been playing the game for 6 months. That lady hasn't. Rose Scowen earning her 4th blue and her first one in 2019. On the bench in 21 and then played at blindside last year. Knock on ball gives the chance for the Dark Blues to get into enemy territory, but see the tackles coming in. We'll go back for that earlier call, but already we're seeing in the tackle so much determination and physicality from both sides.
Yeah, definitely both sides of the ball. You know, defensively, the line speed, the pressure that they're putting under, but then the double shots they're putting in because of the power that the girls are generating, driving through the contact area. It's going to be, you know, a fascinating matchup. It's going to be tired. And then just another look here. This is where all the pressure from Bell literally pickpockets it from Sophie Shams and then gets on her bike, gets her team into such a great attacking position. Not an easy skill when you've got a 2-on-1 on the edge to pick that off.
Into the second quarter of this match with Cambridge in the ascendancy, but as you can tell from the scoreboard, this one is going to be a tight, competitive game. 2 tries for each side, of course, in last year's varsity. Zinian comes out hard and fast to try and get Amber Wilkins. Zoe Guy, the St Peter's second row.
No, White, you're off your feet. Head advantage. Letting advantage off feet.
Using Kitty Levinson a lot to try and break that light blue line. Now it moves out. Sophie Shams does well to rescue that one. Clodagh Holmes
still playing pen advantage.
Sets it back. Alex Wilkinson, another who's played for Wasps. I think she's now playing for Henley. Blue number 404. There she is, wearing the 9 jersey.
Coming back. You've got to mark this.
You can see Alex Wilkinson trying to keep the tempo up. Shams gets the offload. Oxford making some headway down that right flank. No way through for Travers.
No.
But they're into the opposition 22. Now they need to get some width on it.
Keep working on side. No.
Not right now. Going to have to be careful. Cambridge Scowen. Just been told by the referee to hold back Skinner.
Tackle.
Front row doing well to just keep that ball moving. There's another one of them, Levinson. And if there's anybody who deserves a try, it's her, but she loses the ball there.
The tackle. Must release first.
Go back.
12.
Just looking to see, I think it was Hipkiss not rolling away in the tackle from that. Did you
on
pick
that
up
one,
that call?
On this one, it was she ripped the ball as the tackle was being made. You've got a clear release before you do that.
No hands. Wait.
Skinner sets up position. Here come Oxford again. Hawley spots a way through to the white line, but pulled down by Nancy Twigger, opposite number. It's still there for the Dark Blues. Into the sunny side of the street. Lauren Webb bundles her way within a couple of metres of the try line. Oh, Kitty Levinson unable to take that one cleanly.
Advantage only. Back foot.
And Cambridge will try and execute their release from the danger zone. Yep, good work from Hipkiss, and Cambridge can now just draw breath.
Yeah, they did well to weather all of that pressure from Oxford. You can tell Oxford's tactics want to be really direct, using their forwards pod, but when you're coming so flat onto the ball, errors can creep in, especially when you see a wall of white coming towards you as well.
He was on the floor, tackle was complete.
They're still in a strong position here.
Oxford going with the shortened line out. Webb and Sky Stewart-Roberts will be obvious targets. It is the blind side,
backwards,
but
that's fine.
Ball is batted back.
That's off the leg, play on.
came off Bushrod's hand there.
Scrum blue.
Sophie Shams making sure the referee knew that one. Spot the Premier 15s player.
Yeah, exactly. Using her experience just to influence the referee, just help him out. Saw some lovely play from her down the right-hand side, didn't we? Offloading on the inside, getting back in support.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that she was a teammate at Durham University of Phoebe Jackson, the Cambridge fly half. Played alongside her as Shams was doing her geophysics degree. Played at DMP as well, I think, while she was up there.
Backwards.
But now in the Cotswolds with the dark blues. That's good covering tackle, but the ball is still alive. It's a kick chase. It should have plenty of time there for Laura Vass.
Oh, it's such a shame that the passes didn't quite go to hand. Can see what they could do. They stacked Holmes on the right-hand side, knowing how lethal she is. Only one defender to beat, but because the ball went behind her, it allowed the defence to be able to recover. So we're seeing moments and glimpses of what Oxford can do in attack. Lovely little option there.
The officials just sorting themselves out, and it's going to be a goal line restart for Cambridge. I think it's good to see the ambition and the scope that Oxford are looking at with both sides, looking at those right-hand and left-hand side channels and trying to keep that Cambridge defence stretched.
Yeah, well, any good team, you want to have, you know, both attacking threats, both sides of the ruck, so that doesn't allow the defence to be able to read exactly where you're going to go.
Holmes. I think there was just a fingers knock on there from Travers. Travers, a fine cricketer in her own right. Opening bat, she won her first blue at Lord's, England age grade, but handling just not quite there on that occasion.
Yeah, just both teams desperate, aren't they, to play, to try and keep the ball alive, and at times when it's frantic and you've got the opposition flying in, sometimes the right option is just to look after the ball, reset, go again, build the phases, build the pressure.
Set.
This scrummage is fascinating to see. Scowen has to pick it up to rescue. I think she's taken slightly high, yep. Ref picking that one up immediately with help from this near side. Scowen just taking a while to recover. Has a half blue at Aussie rules, would you believe? So multi-talented, multi-skilled player, Rose Scowen. Does triathlons as well.
I'm okay, thank you. Captain, blue.
Yeah, you just see the tackle from Stuart Roberts, just high and going higher. We always talk about 10 minutes going into half-time, Rach. With the scoreboard at the moment,
Captain White.
The next score psychologically could be very important to the teams going off at half-time.
Yeah, it's always important that you go in at the half on your terms, whether that's you've just held a try-out or whether you've just taken some points. So it's really critical, because then that changing room dynamic has a different feel to it. You then have a different approach of how you might come out and start the second half. So it's a really important next 10 minutes for both teams.
Well, they've certainly put plenty of energy into the first 27 minutes.
It's a penalty. Water off.
Light Blues had a difficult start of the season.
Tackle 6.
0 from 6 and then won 5 after that. That was last year. This year went 0 from 10. But then they've had 4 wins on the spin, and that's obviously just galvanised their confidence coming into the big one.
Blue, here's your mark.
Hipkiss, as I mentioned, comes from Oxford, though she's at Queen's College, Cambridge now. And a very important player to have, particularly with her kicking skills. Played in last year's Rugby League varsity as well, I know. Got her football blue the year before that. Line out doesn't work for Cambridge. Greta Grabaskita is playing in the number 2 jersey, but no Saffron Hicks this afternoon. Maybe that's why Gomez Gil-Jaspic is taking the line out. She's used to playing at hooker. The Mexican, no problem there.
Backwards.
A ricochet works just about for the light blues. Nancy Twigg finds no way through there.
Yeah,
So they have to peel it back, and again, Heta Friend, another multifaceted sportswoman. Lacrosse, javelin, now a third blue in rugby union. Played on the right wing in her first blue. Such is her athletic ability. Iona Bennett, again, utilising her football skills, but not finding touch. And here goes Ellie O'Keefe.
Onside.
Azinian through 1, 2, 3. Can anybody stop her? She comes to ground just outside the 22, but Cambridge on the front foot. Phoebe Jackson. Jackson goes 1, 2, 3 herself. Big opportunity here for the light blues before the break. Friend sets up position. They've got options right and left. Scowen is the first option left. They need quick ball, but they're not going to get it. Scowen holds on to it too long for the referee's liking, and the moment is gone.
Oh, well, that was such great play, wasn't it? Big carry through the middle. Azinian gets her team right on the front foot, and then a brilliant little break from Jackson. She's looked lively already this afternoon, been really strong distributor, but what about this? Takes on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders before she's brought down in the end. But all of that momentum, now Oxford are trying to sort out and organise their defence, and Jackson just picks them off. Big show and go, breaking through tackles. She just needed somebody on her shoulder in support. But brilliant defence and work rate from Oxford to get back and turn over inches out from the try line.
When I had a chat with Amelia Bushrod last week, week before, whenever it was, she highlighted the scanning ability that Phoebe Jackson has, and the fact that she often plays in the back three. She has that running capacity, and we saw it just there, that she saw what was on, she saw what the possibilities was, and it almost came off.
Yeah, well, it's all about that big line break momentum. Suddenly defenders are on the back foot. Now you can pick off defenders because they're not sure where they are in the line. They're trying to mark up. And a back three player playing 10, they're always going to be scanning in the backfield what's on for them. But this was an excellent turnover. We talked there about Phoebe Jackson, and then Hawley there locks in over the ball. Not the biggest player out there, but prepared to put her body on the line for her team.
Yeah, Hawley, of course, played on the wing in last year's match. Basketball blue, twice basketball blue as well, so has plenty of ball handling instinct. Right, everybody fit and able to return. 10 minutes left in this first half. 7 points the difference. That try from Grace Azinian. Interesting to see. There's Casey Allen on the far side. Now this is going to be a testing 10 minutes. You have to remember that these are all students. They're not professional rugby players, or most of them aren't. And this is when the legs will start feeling like lead. There's not enough oxygen in Twickenham, let alone in HQ right now.
Especially with how this game has started. It's been really fast, ferocious, dynamic, and the emotion also drains it out of you as well. So it's a critical 10 minutes now before the half.
Bushrod returns to flanker mode to knock the opposite fly half back and hemming Oxford inside their 22. Wilkinson gets the call from Bennett, and they do affect the exit, but it's going to be advantage Cambridge now because they will have the line out.
Edge of the line, please, Blue. Edge of the line for me. Thank you.
It's a good exit by Oxford, but it's all going to be about discipline in this area.
The line out works this time as Buzz Jilks makes sure the ball is there for her forward mates. But now suddenly goes Lauren Webb, pilfered that one. How did she do that? Well, just when her team needed her, the captain steps up. Shams, nice little offload out the back door. Travers tries to straighten things up. They've got numbers out to the left, but the ball is just slowed down enough by Cambridge that they can reset. Webb again, the conduit. Can't get it out cleanly to Katie Haynes. And now it's Bushrod. Oh, the two captains. Bushrod went for the little kick through. Webb said, "You ain't having any of that." And the air kick resulted.
Well, it's a brilliant battle, isn't it, between the two captains. You've got Webb breaking down one side of the pitch, and then on the other side, Bushrod also trying to do the same. But here, it was a really well executed line out initially, but Webb just comes through the middle and pinches the ball. It's a mastery of a 7. There's lots of things that flankers do that we never will ever know. But brilliant response in the end from Bushrod and her team on the right-hand side, applying that pressure. Good option to try and kick over the top, knowing that the touchline was there, but Webb ever so present and aware exactly of what she needed to do in that moment.
Now, Clodagh Holmes, just on the left of your shot there, is having some attention. She won't need reminding. Last year, she only managed it through 45 minutes of this game. But thankfully, looks to be fit and able to return now. Had such an impressive first half. And this lady here is having an impressive first half this year. Amelia Bushrod went to the same comprehensive in Bridgend as the likes of Gavin Henson. Tommy Raffel, of course, current Wales flanker, as a year below. So an alma mater with quite a few famous names on it. Scowen, no way through there. Again, Webb doing her defensive duties diligently. Schneemann.
Back foot, no, 7.
Bushrod out to Jackson. No way through for Phoebe Smith. Was playing for the Tigers at the beginning of the season, but playing so well that she's got promotion to the varsity lineup today. Mentioning the varsity, of course, the second 15 had their varsity on the 12th of March. Oxford Panthers defeating the Tigers 19-15. That's the second 15. The third 15 was a different one. Cambridge Jaguars beating the Oxford Pumas 47-zip. So one apiece so far in the women's varsity. Who is going to swing the barometer their way to finish things off?
I think the collisions have been so successful for both teams that it's really shortening up the opposition, but they keep opting to step back inside, whereas there's so much space in those wide channels. And I think at half-time, some of those conversations will be happening. Be brave enough to put the ball out there, because we've got the athleticism to be able to get on those outside channels and really cause some problems. But at the moment, we're being a bit too direct, straight back into traffic, which is letting them off on opportunities.
Yeah, you get the feeling they just need to open things up a little bit. Travers gets sat down by friend. Asseyez-vous, madame. God, blimey, I felt that one up here. I'm just going to check my ribs are in place, let alone hers.
That was a brilliant shot,
wow.
And now that's pushed Oxford backwards. You just see the shift of momentum. A dominant hit allows the opposition to be able to pile on even more pressure.
Well, I think the officials have called it high. I'm not sure that it was. And another tackle comes in now.
Player. Captain.
First card's coming out. Cambridge are going to go down a player, Laura Vass, being sent to the chair. High call from ref Peddleston, and Cambridge are going to have to survive the next 10 without their outside centre. So line out for the Dark Blues. Rand with a lovely throw there. Wilkinson can't get the ball out to the back line, so she struggles through the attention of those Cambridge forwards.
Back foot.
Skinner leaves it for Webb. Again, Webb taking responsibility.
9, offside.
Call against Bushrod.
9.
Just
Timing,
have a look at this tackle from Heta Friend, because this was something special. Travers, just rocked back in her boots. That was some tackle from the Cambridge second row.
White to take this line on the field, please. Not now.
Inside the final 5 of this first half. It has been a compelling game thus far.
7 calls.
Really
7.
so little to choose between the two sides.
Time off. We need numbers early. It's been good so far. Let's keep it up. Okay.
Rand again throws long. That is excellent darts from the dark blue number 2. Shams can't find Travers cleanly, but Travers rescues it. Bennett has to push back inside.
No,
Oxford
White,
sensing opportunity here, trying to find that gap where Laura Vass was. Webb
keep coming.
just
Keep
about
coming.
gets it back. Wilkinson, see those front row forwards
No,
licking
no,
their lips
leave
at the
it.
prospect of a trundle towards the white line. Hawley throws the ball away in desperation, trying to keep things moving. And that was
Forward pass, scrum
a
White.
forced pass that Chloe Marie Hawley really didn't need to make. They managed to stitch together so many movements
Mark's here, let's
inside
go,
that
please.
22. It was a matter of keeping patience in order to wait for the gap to appear. Cambridge will be in no rush to settle down for this scrum, that's for sure.
Time off.
Just being told that the stadium clock is slightly ahead of our clock on the screen, so 2 minutes left according to the stadium clock. Cambridge will be delighted with that, I'm sure. Beautiful day now in southwest London, the sun bathing the majority of the pitch. The wind still
Cambridge. Next line out. I need one receiver
picking up
and one hooker.
up high. Certainly it's
Please put your numbers up
coming
earlier.
from over Cambridge's right shoulder. Plenty of support here.
Hello. Back over.
All sorts of different areas. Great to see so many kids here, as well as students from their colleges. Of course, a double bubble
Time back on.
this afternoon with the men's
back
game
here.
kicking off at 3 o'clock
Back here.
UK time.
Keep coming. Yeah, you get there. On the line.
Thomas Giljaspic back in and ready. The vice captain, as she is this season, speaks 6 languages fluently. She got 5 degrees, so yeah, intelligence not a problem, you would think, for the Mexican front rower. Played in so many different countries, enjoyed her rugby life, and a great mix
Back here.
within her social life as well. Hip kiss, gets it away, and Bennett can't keep it in, so advantage Cambridge.
Scrum. Okay,
They will
scrum.
be walking up to this one.
You've opted for a scrum. It's a knock on into touch. Mark's here.
Bushrod
Let's
just
go. Mark's here, please.
calming her
Yeah,
team
thank
down.
you.
They're going to go with the scrum option from that knock forward, a safer option perhaps, certainly in the mind of Amelia Bushrod. Doing her
Crouch.
chemistry degree at Pembroke College. I'm sure all those there will be cheering her on if they're not here in the stands. Scowen,
Tackle now.
another scientist.
Release. Thank you.
physics her game.
Thank you, Seven.
At Magdalen College. Ball got back to Polly Hipkiss. I think she stepped out though. I think that's an unforced error from the inside centre. Yeah, she realises it now.
White, take the line.
So it looks like Cambridge are going to have to resist this final play of the first half.
Thank you.
Confirmed by referee Piddleston. Now,
White, ensure you're on the line,
can
please.
Oxford make something of this? Annabelle Rand's darts have been good the last two.
Not straight.
That just goes slightly squint. Refs had enough. It has been a fascinating first 40 between these two. Amelia Bushrod getting Cambridge into the lead after just 6 minutes. Clodagh Holmes responding on the quarter of an hour mark. And then Grace Azinian celebrating her first varsity with a try to make the half-time score here at Twickenham. It's Cambridge 12, Oxford 5.
Well, how about that? That one lived up to the expectation, that's for sure. Last year we had a 10-all match, well, we know it's not going to end that way. In this one, a real ding-dong battle to start off with. I know in commentary you were getting quite excitable. Tell us a bit about the highs and the lows for you so far.
Well, I think it's been such a dynamic start. Both teams really being physical, both when they've got the ball carrying into contact and also on the reverse of that defensively. I think we've seen some really exciting stuff from both teams. And as we talked about managing those emotions early on, some nerves there, a few errors, but you're starting to see both teams settle now.
Certainly early on, Rocky, we saw Cambridge, they had all the cards. I mean, Oxford put up a pen back the whole way through, and Cambridge using their strength. That's something they said they had, and they certainly proved that early on.
Yeah, exactly. Cambridge are really throwing numbers into the breakdown. They've got big, strong carriers. We've seen Grace carry really hard, the Cambridge tight head. She's got 3 people hanging off her every time she carries, and that just creates space elsewhere, which is fantastic. And obviously we've seen Oxford come back as well. And you know, it could go either way.
Anna, with your Cambridge head on and your Cambridge hat on there, looking at Oxford, we knew they had the athleticism and the pace, but Cambridge have dealt with it really well.
Yeah, you can tell that Oxford want to play, and they want to play wide in the way that they're setting up. There's lots of potential off their line out. They're kind of trying to aim towards the back of the line out and use that space. But you can see that Cambridge have really been fighting in defence, particularly in the wider areas. They're really quite relentless, and they've managed to turn over the ball a few times there, so it's going well for Cambridge. They'll be happy with it.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a look at the highlights then from this first half, starting off with the first try. Maybe Rocky, you can talk us through this one here, Amelia Bushrod.
Yeah, she just got a quick pick through the 9, goes straight through the middle, and she caught Oxford napping, didn't she? There was nobody in behind, and a really good pick by her, clever to go through and just unsighted. So brilliant to get her team off a quick little pick. Oxford probably thought they'd slow it down, do some pick and goes, and actually she just went through on a weak tackle.
Yeah, very weak tackle, just made her way through, no drama.
And I think throughout the game she's been really good at just moving the ball, getting into the breakdown, move the ball, so then suddenly defenders around her take their eyes and think about the threats elsewhere, and then suddenly the gap opens up for her.
And then the conversion, well, we didn't see any conversion struck last year. Well, this year Polly put that one straight through the sticks. Nice to see as well, Anna.
Yeah, absolutely. It can make all the difference. Sometimes the varsity matches are pretty tight affairs, and so we like to recruit people from other sports, and football's a good one for that, when we've got lots of experience of getting those kicks. So certainly Polly's done well there.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching the game, and her dad was over my shoulder telling me that she'd been playing football for the majority of her life and moved over about a year ago to rugby and managed to use the same discipline there.
Yeah, and it's quite a successful pathway. I came from football myself. I think it's really helpful, obviously, for the kicking, but looking for space, attacking space. There's lots of transferable principles there.
The Oxford try then came after a period of them really pressing, it has to be said, and Cambridge were doing all they could. Oxford not getting over the line, but they were pressing. Let's have an eye on this one. Maybe you can talk us through this one, Rachel.
Yeah, well, it was really good work rate from the team. They suddenly, from the try from Cambridge, the urgency lifted, looking after the ball, retaining the ball. They had advantage here, but they had a huge overlap. And Rocky spoke about big ball carries in the middle, sucks in defenders, and then it's the simple things done really well. And Holmes actually worked from all the way on the right-hand side to get on the left-hand side of the pitch, to be the extra number, to be the extra player, and then in the end to be able to finish. That work rate has been incredible from her in the first half.
We mentioned her, didn't we, at the top of the show, really, Clodagh Holmes, to watch out for, because we saw her last year and she was a real weapon for them. And it is the thing, if you can contain Clodagh Holmes, maybe you start to contain Oxford.
Well, maybe, but they've got other threats elsewhere. So once you've got one area contained, there's going to be other threats across the park. I mean, I think Sophie Shams is having a really good game. Defensively, she's causing problems. She's been a really good link player. And, you know, both teams have got dangerous weapons, but there's also a lot of space in those outside channels. And I think in the changing rooms right now, they'll be talking about, be brave enough to put the ball there. We don't need to go route one every single time.
Alex Travers, we were talking about her a little bit as well. Ball carrying seems to be a good thing. And I know, Rocky, that was, from Oxford's point of view, somebody who you identified as a useful player, but needs to maybe get into the spaces a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. The line she's picking today, she's taken out 3 defenders, but I think there's just a little bit of space. If somebody's off her shoulder, because she's so hard to tackle, that she's creating space elsewhere. So, as Burford said, if you can get that extra pass on, then I think, yeah, they'll be in all day.
Grace Isenjon's looks really, really impressive when it comes to any part of the pitch. In fact, you look up, if there's a big tackle, well, she's there. She's always been brought down as well. Scored a fantastic try. Talk us through that one, Anna.
Oh, she's a fantastic player to watch, isn't she? At the start of the match, you asked me, is it hard for these players to enjoy the big occasion? And you can just see from Grace and some of the players around her, they've got big smiles on their faces. They're having a great time. And so she just knows she's got that confidence. Maybe quite lucky with a little bit of a fumble on the line there, but she's got that confidence to take on those players and use her power to power through there.
She's been doing that all around the park,
Yeah.
not just 5 metres out. And as Rocky said, it's really causing a lot of problems because it's taken 4 or 5 defenders to actually bring her down. Suddenly shortens up defence, space elsewhere. But yeah, she's a really exciting player and
One to watch for the
future.
isn't she?
100%. I think we need to get her number.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's been a fantastic first half. We'll come back for some more analysis in just a few moments. But right now, the atmosphere inside the stadium is really building. Great to see so many fans here. Let's just have a look at a few and have a little moment here before we carry on with our analysis. I'll tell you what, the noise inside the stadium is phenomenal, especially on the attacks at the moment. It's a real atmosphere building, and as it should be as well. We've been treated to a decent first half from both Cambridge and Oxford. If we look at the other end as well, I suppose Oxford coming on for a try near the end there. They got to 3 yards out and a knock on. It was a real shame for them, but thoughts on their progress, should we say, Oxford, because they need to score early in this second half, but they can do it, and they proved they just got to maybe keep their discipline when they get into the try line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got that advantage with an extra player for the next 5 minutes or so. Cambridge will be very pleased to have got away at the end of that half without letting Oxford in, and so Oxford will be looking to capitalise right from the start on that extra player advantage.
Yeah, thoughts on that tackle that led to the yellow, Rocky, for Bass?
Yeah, the crowd definitely were sucking deep breaths in, so yeah, it's definitely one with gone too high there. So yeah, fair result.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spoken a fair bit about some of these players. I mean, Clodagh Holmes we mentioned as well, Alex Travers and Sophie Shams. We mentioned Sophie Shams as well for Oxford because looking quite lively.
Yeah, I think she's looking really good, both sides of the ball. In attack, she's linking really well. She's getting offloads. She's playing really close to the line, which is drawing the defenders in. But defensively, she's made some really good hits, really good reads, and got a really couple of critical turnovers. So she's slotted into that midfield position, and she's doing really, really well.
She's done really well just running that outside defender to draw them in, so 2 players are on her. So she's always given her outside players more space with the ball.
Inside that change room, Anna, what are the Cambridge teams saying to each other?
We'll be looking kind of on the flip side of what I just said about Oxford. They'll be looking to keep it tight for this next sort of 5 minutes. Really trying to just hold on for the next 5 minutes so that Oxford don't get any points, while they've got the extra player advantage. I think that they'll just be looking to look for the same opportunities that they've already taken advantage of in the first half. So we saw Millie Bouchard seeing some space around the ruck. They'll be keeping an eye out for that and just sort of getting it wide as well. As we've noted, there's lots of space in the wide channels, so it's just about linking up and moving the ball to those areas.
Yeah. Such a fine margin, isn't it, in this game here? One try, one conversion, and it's all square again. Rocky, for Oxford, what do they need to do at the start of the second half?
Yeah, they need to expose that extra woman overlap and make sure that they're utilising those wide channels. A couple of their lines, they're just a little bit drifting. I think if they straighten up and get the ball out wide early on, I think they'll get some real rewards.
In the commentary position where you are getting to see this from the gods looking down on this one, Rachel, you're getting to see more of an overview of the pitch than we're getting to see on pitch side. Has this one lived up to the expectation? Has it gone the way you thought it might have gone at the start?
I think it's gone beyond expectation. I think the skill level and physicality that we're seeing today is far beyond from last year, and I think we've got another second half to come, which is just going to be a great opportunity for these girls to showcase what they can do. There's plenty of opportunities for both sides. You know, Cambridge are going in with probably a little bit more confidence. I think they've been more controlled. They seem really settled. In moments of breaks, they're coming together and having conversations, and I think it's going to be a really tight one, but I'm edging towards Cambridge.
I'm not going to bet against that one, that's for sure. We are getting ready for the second half, ladies. Thank you very much indeed. Back to commentators then, up in the gods at the moment. I know you're going to join in just a few moments, Rachel, but it's back to Simon Ward.
Well, last year's Varsity, they were 5 points apiece at half-time, 10 points apiece at full-time, of course. Just the 7 points difference, and it is just that one score differential that will give both teams some confidence coming back out onto the track. You look back over history, and of course Varsity is all about history. The last 3 years there's only been a one score difference between the two sides, and in the draw as well from 2022, and it shows how tight this match can be. Both teams have shown plenty of ambition, plenty of positivity in that first 40, but of course Cambridge have to survive for the next few minutes without Laura Vass on the sin bin. Buzz Jilts, the younger sister Poppy, is waiting on the bench. "40 minutes to decide
Backwards, forwards.
who is going to be holding that Varsity trophy at the end of this one. Kitty Levinson quite prevalent in the open space in that first half. They will go back though for that earlier knock-on from a Cambridge hand. The first women's Varsity, of course, back in 1988 at Iffley Road. Cambridge, I think, won that one. The first Varsity they played here, 2015. Oxford with 21 victories, Cambridge 13, plus that draw last year.
8 in, please. Crouch! Bind!
Alex Wilkinson, former England under-20 scrum half.
Maintain the gap, all right, and then wait for the ball to come in.
So has that instinct about her game that, of course, is vital for a number 9. Same on the other side, of course, with Bushrod. The Welsh former flanker really working well into that number 9 shirt now.
Set! Yeah. Yes, 9.
Good shove from the Cambridge 8, but Skinner just about makes it back on her side. Wilkinson goes to ground. Clara Stromstead. Webb again, so eager to get her team onto the front foot. In fact, with both ball in hand and in defence, she's been so prominent. Lovely little ricochet and wrap around for Oxford, and here comes Travers. Oh, she had 2 outside. Holmes goes back into the heavy traffic. Oxford with their first visit to the Cambridge 22 in this second half.
No, right, off your feet,
Webb
no.
stumbles through a tackle.
Off feet.
I think it's Scowen who's been penalised there. They go quickly though. Oxford, Shams. This is Oxford coming out of the blocks very quickly. Travers this time does move it on, and it is another try for Oxford. It is another try for Clodagh Holmes. And it's the Dark Blues on the board first in this second half.
Well, what an impact from the start. They would have known that they needed to come out and start strongly. They had lost and missed their opportunities just before the end of the second half. And then using that advantage of the overlap, just the simple things, moving the hands, the lovely line break, and then linking up together. The backs are doing so well, being on each other's shoulders. Holmes is just everywhere, always around the ball. And then just the quick thinking from the 9, shift and move the ball to the space.
And notifying the absence of Vass in that back line, so they knew there was a gap somewhere, just a matter of using the ball to find it.
Absolutely, it would have been spoken about in the changing room, you know, let's look to shift the ball to the outside channels. We know that they're a player down, so let's take that advantage for the few minutes that we do have in the second half. And they did take that, and Holmes again, we saw her in the first clip on the right-hand side of the pitch, and it's the work rate to get to the other side, which then gets her over.
That's a good kick from Bennett, but not good enough to tie the scores up.
Just simple hands, really good link play. Travers moving the ball to the outside, and Holmes is so good just on that outside angle. Makes it so difficult to try and stop her.
And Travers, as the 13, aware that her fullback was there as that overlap, which she'd ignored on this near side just before. So good awareness from the Oxford 13. Well, this match back in the melting pot. Plenty of time to play, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out now. I think just looking to see, I think Cambridge are back up to full strength. I'm looking to see if Laura Vass is on. Well, she's just about to come on.
Thank you.
There's
White to take this line on
Sophie
the pitch,
Shams. Scored a very special try here back in the Bucks final of 2019. Ran in from 60 metres, 1 or 2 tries she scored on that day that got her the Player of the Match award. And you can tell, I mean, I'm talking to a 12, and what do I know, but you can tell the responsibility and the reliability that Oxford backline have on their inside centre.
Oh, hugely. She's been really good as an individual defensively, really good reads, but it's about organising the forwards around you, organising the back, knowing when to release the ball to the outside. And you can just see from her experience, you know, being part of Saracens, that they lean on her so much. And throughout the week, they've had really good conversations and working together to make sure that they can maximise that kind of opportunity on the field today.
Becoming Blues number 400, I'm told. For those Norses out there that want to know all the numbers. There's Sarah Skinner at the back of that dark blue scrum.
Wait there, 9.
Been a few absences this season for Oxford, and indeed for Cambridge, but in dark blue there'll be the likes of Manon Johns and Grace Gibson unable to play today. Yeah, got to release the ball. And Nancy Twigg just letting that enthusiasm get the better of her there.
Yeah, just trying to get back to her feet and go again, but you've got to release the ball before you do so. But really liking the way that Cambridge are trying to attack, playing out the back, going right to the line, drawing in defenders. They could get the ball into 2 hands, and it just challenges the defenders even more. And she's got her winger just on the outside of her.
Yep, knees on the ground means tackle's complete, and she had to release there. Didn't happen, so this has allowed the Dark Blues to get back into enemy territory. I was impressed with the line-out throwing of Rand in that first half. She was throwing quite accurately, bar the last, I think the last one of the half. Again, Jilks becoming a major irritant at the front of the line-out. Webb goes straight into Grabowskita, the Lithuanian hookup, making sure there was no way through there. Levinson.
Advantage, not releasing.
Advantage call once again for Oxford.
You must release as part of the tackle.
And this is where the girls really have to listen to the referee, especially if they haven't got the history of rugby on their CV. It may not be quite as instinctive as it is for the likes of Lauren Webb, who bounces off that tackle from Grace Zinian.
Roll. 2 and 5. Roll away.
It's discipline that's letting Cambridge down at the moment. Oxford dominating all the possession and territory. You can just feel the pressure coming on.
Well, unforced error from Bennett has ceded that possession because she's kicked that ball dead.
Scrum?
Maybe over-ambition there from the winger.
Yeah, she's just trying to get her team as close as she can to the try line.
Always want the glory kick.
You want your kicker to push their boundaries, but unfortunate for that one, it's just gone dead, which is a big let-off now for Cambridge. They're going to need to take control of this scrum and exit from here.
Bind!
So Cambridge with a chance to get out of their own 22. Scowen has no chance of getting through, and again is pinged for holding on too long. That's the third time, and now Oxford have made something of the opportunity. Shams cutting back against the weaker shoulder. Big hit from Azinian again. She had to get that tackle in, and my goodness me, she did. But here come Oxford. Shams keeping the ball alive. Cambridge trying to work that light blue line away from the whitewash behind them.
Use it!
Early in this second half, but the Cambridge defence under duress already. Whatever was said by Ricky Khan and Lauren Webb seems to have worked for the Dark Blues. They've got numbers out to the left. If they transfer it, now it goes out.
Backwards!
Pass is not accurate enough.
Yes,
Emily Bell up very quickly. Here they come again with Skinner. The American does well to rescue that for her team. Counter up comes through, but not legally from Gomez Gil-Yaspet. Coming in from side entry, Wilkinson trying to catch Cambridge with their backs turned. Wilkinson's done it! Alex Wilkinson, super sniper from number 9. Just when they weren't looking, Cambridge get caught cold by the Oxford scrum half.
Well, that's poor defence. Wilkinson has been tapping and going on the last 3 penalties, and you can't turn your back on a 9 that wants to inject tempo, and that's exactly what Oxford have done since the second half. It's all been about urgency and tempo. You can't turn your back here, and she just takes it on. She sees the space. She's still got lots of work to do, breaking through defenders. She should never have got through. And in the end, 5 Cambridge players all on the back. And then suddenly she gets her team over. What an impressive start to this second half from Oxford.
And for the first time in 50 minutes of this game, Oxford have their noses in front. Conversions still to come, of course. But those postgrads, undergrads, parents, friends from the Cotswolds will have a smile on their faces right now. Long time still to go, of course there is. But that's the start that they were looking for. What a kick! What a kick from Iona Bennett! And what a valuable 2 points for her team. There's the smile we've been waiting for.
That is an impressive kick. Extremely challenging windy conditions down there, and then just to slot it through the middle. We talk about these games being tight encounters between the two, so conversions become so important in the latter stages. You just feel the confidence is all with Oxford right now. Let's see how Cambridge can respond.
Yeah.
Well, we've still got the best part of half an hour to go, but that could be a match-winning kick. I'll put it out there early. That was some conversion from Iona Bennett. Now, change in the Oxford ranks. I think it's Katie Haynes, the left winger. Brings Ellen Isaac into the mix.
Stay there, thank you.
She'll wear 23. Now, what have Cambridge got in their locker? Lovely transference from Webb. I said the 7 and 8 in dark blue could be prominent in this game, and so it's proved. As has this lady, Lucette Kitty Levinson. Shams picks it up beautifully on the off her bootstraps. Oh, but the ball goes loose. Ellie O'Keefe suddenly finds herself in possession and gets the penalty. Is that the sort of incident that could turn this match? So long to go, it seems too early to call, but the way that this game works around.
Absolutely, the swings of momentum are everything. You think Oxford there completely in control, trying to force the pass, and then O'Keefe just picks it off.
Blue, here's your mark.
Now earning themselves a penalty as well, that gets them into a strong position. We know that their set piece has been going well this afternoon. So what can they launch off this line out? Bring the likes of Hipkiss into it, and Vass.
Thomas Gill-Jaspic has got to be accurate with this throw. Her team need this position to attack Oxford for the first time in this second half, and again Webb at the front of that line out, gets her mitts into it. The pass though not particularly accurate, rescued by Travers.
No hands up, let it come, let it come. Thank you. Hands are on, that's fine.
No way through for Stromstead, but setting the ball back for the rest of her team, led by Uga Rand. The Caterpillar is long and effective for Wilkinson. Doesn't get depth, but gets plenty of height. Oh, and Bell and Jackson just colliding in midfield. Looks like they're both okay, thankfully. Let's keep an eye on that. Zinyan trying to get her team back into the enemy 22. Here's Jackson. Oh, Vass too far in front of her. Could see the idea of the pass, but just not executed accurately enough.
Yeah, it's just the lacking of execution, those final moments and passes.
Okay. You were using your foot, that's fine, but it actually came out the side of the ruck, so it's not actually within your players.
There's so much space on the outside when you've got the weapon of Izinye going through the middle. But what about this? Taking your own player out. Thankfully, they're both okay, and Bell manages to retain the ball. Probably not expecting to get hit from behind from her own teammate.
Crouch! 8 in, please. Bind! Set!
Again, big pressure from the light blue 8. Wilkinson able to get it out though. There's Shams releasing Clodagh Holmes. Holmes back in to Hawley. Hawley, of course, on the wing last season, so plenty of speed should she get the opportunity to show it. Shams again has that physical nature as a 12 as well. She's very solid with her ball in hand. Should she have to go into the contact?
Head advantage, Blue. High tackle 1.
High tackle call from Gomes Gill-Jaspic again. Webb again, the conduit. Webb goes round the corner, 2 handoffs. Gets the ball inside. Almost for Stromstead. Ball's gone loose. Well, again, we see how important Lauren Webb is to her team.
Yeah.
Wilkinson is going to go quickly, though, keeping the pressure up on the light blues. Skinner, head down and drive, almost but not quite. Wilkinson organising.
Through the middle, play on.
Good work from Friend. coming through the middle of that ruck to stop the opposition scrum half getting easy release. Oxford just forced back another 3-4 metres. Now it's out once again to Webb. She has the alignment and the nose to find the gap. Shams steps inside, now releases. It's hat-trick time for Clodagh Holmes. Wow, Oxford do it when they needed to. Again, the conduit was Sophie Shams, such great awareness to step inside, to pull the defender in, and then the release to her fullback. And it's a Holmes hat-trick for Oxford that's making the difference right now.
Well, that had a bit of everything, didn't it?
Excellent, thank
Lauren Webb at the absolute heart of it, brushing defenders off, getting her team into the optimal position, but just the link play as well, the awareness, the support around. The back row today have been electric, on each other's shoulders, and then it's all about being patient here, building through the phases. The quick tap again from Wilkins. And we just talked about getting the ball into a little bit of space, and Sophie Shams talked about how good she's been being direct with the ball, but then what about the ball skills, the show and go, and then the threading the ball between two defenders to find Holmes. What Holmes does so well there is just holding her whip, staying in the space, not running towards the ball, which gives her all the space to go in over the whitewash.
Oh, she's on song now. Bennett bashes another 2 points for her team, and suddenly Oxford can look at a 12-point buffer on the scoreboard.
Well, we talked up Holmes, didn't we? And now she's got a hat-trick to her name.
You keep talking up Sophie Shams as well, because from an inside centre perspective, Rach, that is sublime play.
Oh, that was wonderful. That's exactly the kind of centre play I love to see. Linking and getting the space into your danger threats on the outside channels.
Use it!
Well, there's a number of contestants, shall we say, that are stepping up for that player of the match berth. Lauren Webb would be one of them. Sophie Shams would be another. Thankfully, Rocky Clark's going to make the call. The relief on Rachel Burford's face is palpable. There are many, many names that have been put into the pot. Little way to go yet. The hour mark just ticks over, and the game changes as Sophie Shams doesn't know. Breaks through one. I told you Shams has got some pace. She did it in that Bucks final from 60 metres. Stromstead and Stuart Peters getting more and more involved with ball in hand. Hawley keeping things moving. There's Webb appearing in midfield now. Good work from Alex Travers as well. You see the confidence really building through dark blue ranks now, don't you?
Oh, hugely. You can just sense that they've got that belief back. You know, I think from the start of this game, Cambridge came out all guns blazing. The defence, the line speed, the pressure that they were putting under, they weren't expecting it. And you can see the confidence now lacking in Cambridge. They're sitting on the line. They're allowing Oxford to come forward and play. And Sophie Shams, she's been doing this down the channel so many times. Two hands on the ball, little show and go, which gives her the little line break.
Crouch!
It's lovely to see that earning her first blue, and she's playing so well.
Set!
And enjoying herself. You can see it, fun in the sun for Sophie Shams so far. Had to recover from 2 ACL operations back in the day, but looking strong, looking solid, looking fast, and with the brain, with the sight to see what's on and what's needed, pulling the right strings.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, I spoke to her this week and she just talked about how hard this team have been working, the work that they've done together, and you know, they had all the formalities last night, their shirt presentation. They give each other a book which has lovely messages about them, and so she talks about, very personal, she talks about how together this squad is and how this is her immediate friendship group, and you can see that by the way that she plays. She's putting everything out there for them.
Yeah, having coffee with Lauren Webb last week, she saying the hunger in the team was the phrase she used, and you can see it, and it's just building and building. And when you remember that they were second last in the Bucks League last season, they're second from the top this season. That shows quite a transition for those in dark blue. Those in light blue now have to find some sort of transition in this game. Rose Scowen certainly will lead from the front if she possibly can. England again making that headway. What a find she's been for the light blues. I dare say there may be a few other rugby teams having a look at the Londoner there. There's two front rowers off the bench. Juliet Shuri earning her second blue, started at Loosehead last year. And Ella Cook wearing 17, a fresher. So big moments for them. Big moment for Sarah Skinner as well. She's been an important ally for Lauren Webb in broken play. Travers was in the back row in 21. Centre in 22. Back in that midfield again. There she is. Beg her pardon, that was Hawley coming through.
Knock-on advantage.
Now Jackson trying to manipulate a scenario
Scrum
for
wide.
Cambridge to get things going. Now we've got the player down. One of the Oxford players, I think it's Sky Stewart-Roberts, isn't it, on this near side?
I think she might have got a bit of whiplash to the head as O'Keefe brought her down.
Okay, thank you.
There's Phoebe Smith. I love the work that the girls have done in giving me information. Obviously you don't know them, but Phoebe's stood out. It said she's bought a flock of Shetland sheep and plays the piano. Now I'm not sure whether the sheep flock to the music or whether her compositions are influenced by the barring, but diversity is wonderful to see through the ranks of both these sides.
There is no foul play.
And it's something that they have enjoyed. As you said, both sides find that social measure so important. Oxford changes, brings Stella Farmer on. Now Stella wearing 21, this time last year she did her ACL at the beginning of March, which forced her absence. And she's going to come on into that midfield. In fact, I think it's going to allow Chloe Marie Hawley into the centres, and Farmer will take her familiar fly half roll.
Okay. Time back on. White scrum.
Good to see Stewart-Roberts up, but not going to continue. So Hannah Riches into the back row. Yes, this match, as important as it is, as historic as it is, it's so much more than a game of rugby.
Crouch!
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, you speak to the players and you speak about the moments over the season, the family that they've made within this team. You know, it has all the rich history about the rugby, but it's also it's things off the pitch, it's moments and memories that these girls will have for the rest of their lives.
And friends that they will keep for the rest of their lives as a consequence. It's wonderful to see. It's in many ways rejuvenating when you see rugby played in this sort of atmosphere. Bennett goes on a wander, but runs into that blue and white wall just inside halfway. Webb again, that first receiver role for the Oxford captain. She's on Duracell batteries today, isn't she? Other batteries are, of course, available.
She's just so impressive, always steps up for her team. Big reason why she's wearing the armband.
Farmer Shams holding wide in that channel. Here comes Holmes again. Good tackle from Vass on this occasion to make sure she didn't get too far, but again Oxford on the front foot, and the wind very much in dark blue sails right now. quarter of an hour left on the clock. Good drive. Stromstead seeing her more and more with ball in hand now. Farmer. That little outside run for Hawley. Again, well, guess who? Webb it is.
She just never looks tired.
Webb, the Wonder Woman. And there's her partner in crime. Well, not crime, but you know what I mean. Sarah Skinner seems to have been there as well. Juliet Shorey getting plenty of ball in hand. 2 years at London Scottish in the age group. Started as a winger. Now doing a job at the other end of the team. Zinyan down in back play for Cambridge, but ball turns into hot potato and they will just hang on now. Hilda Schneeman, post-grad from Darwin College, earning her 4th blue, played a lot of rugby around the place. Of course, Montpellier, I think she had some time out, including played in Germany, Australia. So Have Boots will travel for the Dutch second rower. Bethan Jones.
Time's off because we need that player to start the
see.
A strong defensive set there from Cambridge, just managing the breakdown really well. They did actually get narrowed up, but they managed to recover and then in the end forced the indecision and error from Oxford. But they're really going to have to try and turn the screw now.
Okay, that's okay.
They've had some possessions but not been able to retain the ball and look after it and build pressure and build phases.
Now a big challenge for Bushrod and her teammates, just to get their heads in the right space now. They've taken a battering since half-time. Now they need to find a way to get up the other end and get some points on the board. Hip kiss, no way through. Bushrod now puts it out. And Jackson puts boot to ball.
Inside.
Bennett was waiting for it though.
There you go.
Twig takes well. Good follow-up from Bennett, used as a bit of a doormat. Good strength and desire from Nancy Twig. Scowen.
Advantage. 19, not rolling. 18. Use it!
The two props working in tandem in midfield. Bushrod and Jackson in a better position, but
coming back.
Just over kicking that, and they will come back for that call against Juliet Shorey.
Thank you. 18.
I mean, how good has the tight head number 3, Izzy Anyang, been this afternoon? I just want players to get on her shoulder. You know she's going to line break. You know you're going to be drawing defenders in. If you have players left and right of her, she can release them. But she's been so, so good this afternoon.
Did she look good in the quarters, do you think?
Absolutely.
She only got to go across the zebra crossing on the 3-1-6.
I've already pinged the coach a message.
Oh, have you? Oh, have you? Talent spotter Burford.
2 and 5, blue.
I'm sure Amy is very interested to see the performance. Here, more changes in the Oxford ranks.
Yeah,
a good performance from Annabelle Rand.
Yeah, set piece has been good.
On to replace.
Timer.
Looking here as the...
it's dropping in and out. So I'm hearing some words and not others.
Yeah, I think Becky Piddleston is hearing more of me than she is of the assistants.
Okay. Time's off, girls. You're having drinks.
Be interesting to see now, Rach, how the players off the bench can get up to tempo, get up to speed, because it has been a particularly fast game, particularly in that first half, but it's still continuing that pace since the break, and they have got to try and make this 10 minutes count.
Absolutely, and you think there's been a lot of changes, so you've got to try and get yourself back into control. You've got a number of different players moving in position, so how do you now try and settle amongst that? But then at the same time, you've got energy coming off the bench. How do you inject that tempo? How do you bring that into the game? Because for Cambridge, they really need to press on in this last 10 minutes.
Moments of fame in a big match here at Twickenham. There comes Bethan Jones, captain of last year's Rugby League varsity team, showing those direct running skills on the rugby union paddock now. Chip through from Jackson, again, goes straight to Bennett. Hauling, Holmes, the hat-trick hero, looking for a fourth. Holmes on her way to glory. Nobody is going to stop Clodagh Holmes. Try number 4 for the Oxford fullback, and surely that is now game up. It has been a second half dominated by those in dark blue as the scoreboard now begins to show.
Well, Holmes hasn't had us talking about her enough. Gets herself another try, completely carves up through the middle. There's a lovely little ball, little tip, but step back inside, just sees the players depart. They're not communicating left and right, and then manages to be able to get the gas on Twig as well on the outside. Look at that smile as she's running in. I don't think she can believe it. But here, just the ability to back yourself. We've seen how good she is running in from close out, and now we've just had and been treated to a 60-metre try from her.
Well, as disappointed as no doubt she was last year that she only played pretty much half the game, she has made the maximum impact on the 70-odd minutes that we've had thus far in this year's contest. And the smiles on the faces of those in dark blue. They have put so much into the preparations for this contest. The forwards have been getting up for 7 o'clock in the morning, line-out sessions with Nick Savetta, the former USA Eagle. Most of the props I know don't know there's a 7 a.m. Oh, and it's all going dark blue way now. Another terrific conversion from Iona Bennett. And here you see Holmes, remember my number because you ain't remembering my face.
Just seen Cambridge kicking the ball a number of times, and you wonder if that was then their tactic. But when you've got 2 in the backfield, there's going to be some space in the front line.
Backwards!
And every time, he's been catching them on the full and having plenty of time to be able to shift the ball, look for her options.
Okay. Hands were on, that's fine.
Yeah, all that hard work now is beginning to pay dividends. Looks like they're going to get their first win in 7 years in this contest, and from a half-time score, 12-5 down,
Backwards!
they've run in 26 points unanswered.
No, leave it now, blue!
In this second half. Cambridge, who started so well.
Backwards!
And then Isaac
No white,
finds no way through on that left flank. Lauren Webb. Well, she may not be on the scoreboard this year, but my goodness me, what an impact the dark blue captain has made.
Knock on.
Yeah, her presence around the park is just extraordinary.
2,
Anything
11 and 14.
That's coming good from Oxford. She's
2,
always
11,
at the heart of
14
it. Anytime
substitution.
that her team's on the back foot, she's there trying to tidy it up. She really is such an
2,
influential
11 and 14.
player for them.
Yeah.
Well, bench is being emptied now to make sure they are blues. I'm not sure what the time limits are. I've got 5 minutes in my head, so hence there's quite a change round in the light blue ranks. I think Nalini Ramprasad, yeah, she's on to replace Emily Bell there.
All good, happy?
And I'm really pleased that they do that, because the players who are on the bench, you know, they go through all the same amount of training, hard work, commitment. So giving them that opportunity to earn their honour and earn their blue is really, really brilliant to see.
Crouch! Bind! Set! Wait there, 9. Use it!
Bushrod and Jackson trying to release that midfield.
Backwards!
Difficult ball for Ramprasad, first touch, but it is still there for her team. Had a friend, the medical student from Robinson College, in her 5th year, earning her 3rd blue this afternoon.
Not hunted. 20.
Zenyan unable to get through there.
Come here. 20. 20, come here. Okay. Hair
It's going to be a yellow card.
Yeah.
Pulling the hair.
Hannah Richards, well, pulling the hair is the call from the referee. So Oxford are down, will be down until the full time, you would think.
You okay, player?
Looking to see as Amy Reese, Juliette Bonneau and Cassie Hayward prepared to come on. Yeah,
Here, when we restart, okay?
very obvious there. There's no way of stopping Grace Zinyan, certainly not by pulling her hair.
Certainly not. The players have struggled to find a way to stop her this afternoon.
Oxford. 1-4 Oxford replacement. 14. Hold on, no, wait.
Iona Bennett's day is done. Lucy Hamer on for the dark blues, and Amy Reese on for the light blues. And here come the rest of the front row placements for Cambridge.
1, 3 and 8, off you go.
Gomez Giljaspic, Grabaskirta and Nizinian bid farewell to this one, and the 2 props in particular you see just coming off. My goodness me, they have put in a huge shift.
Yeah, there's a few tears on the sideline from the players.
Cambridge looking to add a little bit of feel-good perhaps to their day with the last play with Oxford down. A player, of course, straightening up. Cassie Hayward, the Canadian prop, plays ultimate frisbee and softball. That's what dogs are for, isn't it? Ultimate frisbee. Here come the replacements now, trying to make a little bit of difference to the scoreboard before we hit the full-time whistle.
No hands, blue, no.
They can speed up the ruck. They are shortening up Oxford, so they do have some opportunities, but because it's slowing down, it just allows the defensive line to reset, get numbers on their feet.
Again, friend offering to take that hard yards as first receiver. Not making much headway though, Amy Reese. Legal Eagle from Churchill College, trying to make a difference now in these last 4 and a bit minutes. But the penalty goes away as Buzz Jilks is pinged for holding on too long.
They just started to run out of numbers, not getting enough numbers to the breakdown. And there's Sophie Shams, who's been in the breakdown on a number of occasions, not been able to get the rewards, but on that time she does.
Yeah, not an easy take there, and some very tired bodies amongst those that have played the full 77 minutes. What a day for Stella Farmer. To be able to get on to the hallowed turf after last year's disappointment is massive for the fly half.
Yeah, for anybody who hasn't been fortunate not to do their ACL, it's such a long recovery process, both physically and mentally.
Tackle, release, blue. Thank you.
Loose ball picked up by Samantha Mason. There is Jilks the elder.
No.
Poppy, I'm just looking to see whether Poppy's on the park. I haven't seen when the number 22's out. And there is Holmes. Holmes takes a roam around that left flank once again.
No, right, let it come.
What a game Clodagh Holmes has had. Looked a little bit forward there from Webb, but play continues. Wilkinson, another one to have a very prominent part. The release is there for Hawley. Hawley resets her sat-nav and takes her right next to the post for the 6th try for Oxford. Well, a winger last year, fly half this, but showing she still has that acumen and skill. And what a performance it has been. What a second half performance it has been from this Oxford side.
It's been a hugely impressive second half performance. I was worried there running away from your support play, but it's just the interaction between the forwards and the backs, looking after the ball, the speed ruck so quick, the ball's in and away. And a little show and go just on that angled arc. She has a little look for a support on the outside, but thinks, no, do you know what?
We've got
I've got my winger
7 in the lead up
boots
to the
on,
try.
I can do this myself,
So
and
the
gets on the
you need to
outside.
load the try and go back for the forward pass.
Oh, hang on.
No try here.
I think I shouted too loud then. Because,
No try.
yeah,
Forward
I'm
pass
sorry.
here. No try.
Sorry, Chloe Marie. That one's been scrubbed off for that forward pass from Lauren Webb.
It's still documented, so you can clip it up, put it out
I've written
there.
it down. I've written it down on my pad, so if she wants to take a picture of that, she can.
Well, she's just given everybody a taste of what she can do in open space, but it was this
It's
pass.
this one here. Have a
Just
look here.
Shams here.
Okay, forward pass
Just slightly
here.
gets, just releases the
right.
ball instead of using her hands to pull the ball backwards.
Forward.
But right decision, good spot by the TMO to bring it back.
Thank you.
So be one more shot for Cambridge
Thank you.
to finish this game on their terms.
No try, forward pass.
So the clock's in the red.
Crouch.
The game is very much
Fine.
dark blue
Set.
as we go into last play territory
I'm happy that's
in
just
the
a slip here.
2023
Okay.
varsity match
Same mark.
for the women's teams. Terrific entertainment it has been.
Blue 17, stay square, please. Throughout. My time. Bind up, please. Crouch. Bind. Set.
Amelia Bushrod, the Cambridge captain, with the last feed.
Use it.
The pack on the retreat, desperately trying to get it out. Wilkinson picks up the scraps.
That is time, Oxford, time.
Last play it is.
No, Mike, leave it.
Time is called by the ref. Wilkinson says, we'll take it at that. And what a victory it has been for Oxford this afternoon. Cambridge with the lead at half-time, 12-5. But Oxford running in all those tries, 26 unanswered points after the break. Clodagh Holmes, the player of the match with a quartet of tries, 4 of the 5 going to the Oxford number 15. But the Oxford get their first win since 2016, their first win in 7 years, and a deserved victory for the Dark Blues, with a final score that reads Cambridge University 12, Oxford University 31. Well, Rachel Burford alongside me. For entertainment value, that was up there. When you compare it to last year's match, very different, granted, it was a level above, if not two.
I would definitely say 2 levels above. I think the physicality, the skill level, the work rate, you know, the girls absolutely dominated that second half from an Oxford perspective. But from both sides of the game, you know, seeing the intent, the diligence, the detail, the game understanding, it has definitely come on from last season. It's been a brilliant and thoroughly entertaining game to watch this afternoon.
We talk a lot about instinct, and we talk a lot about a lot of these girls have only been playing the game 6 months, but there were some characters in there that you know have played before and have that instinct and were able to dictate play. You look at Sophie Shams for one, you look at Lauren Webb as well, Sam Skinner as well. There were some very important performances by important players within the Oxford ranks.
Yeah, and I think those players, you know, brought that level of control, understanding when the tempo should be coming into the game, when it should be managing that tempo. I think the game management from Oxford was outstanding, and Lauren Webb being right at the heart of that, knowing when to speed the ball, speed the game up, slow it down, tidy things up. And, you know, I think Wilkinson putting the tempo into that second half is really what set them alight and brought that urgency to their game, and they really did deserve that win in the end.
As the conductor for the Oxford Choir, Alex Wilkinson deserves a big mention, doesn't she?
That's real, right?
Yeah.
Wow, well, you can see her pulling the strings out there today. It was unbelievable. I think that second half, they started the first half really shell-shocked. Cambridge threw everything at them, tried so much pressure, started off on a really strong footing, but then the experience of those players came through and shone through in that second half.
Well, Lauren Webb leading her team through the Cambridge tunnel. So much history and tradition in this fixture, and this, of course, a very important part of tradition. And both teams enjoying the moment, as they should do. Big plaudits for Cambridge. I mean, they came out of the block so quickly, got those 2 tries on the board, got the lead, but after half-time just couldn't find a footing in the game, really.
Yeah, I mean, they started so strong, and at half-time you would have felt that Cambridge probably were the favourites coming into the second half, but sometimes that break comes at the wrong time, and then suddenly that momentum can swing to the opposition. There's obviously a very strong talk in the changing room for Oxford for them to come out firing the way that they did, but Cambridge never gave up. They kept fighting, they kept working hard for one another. They had some brilliant moments, but in the end, you know, it was just those fine margins where it came down to.
Well, the Bunting Peggers Trophy for Player of the Match in honour of the 2 pioneering captains back in 1988 will be presented shortly, and there are so many players that could have been receiving that trophy that were really so impactful on the way that Oxford were able to play the game, particularly after half-time, particularly the way that they were working the ball in the loose and particularly open phases of play. It was really impressive to see the way that Wilkinson, we've mentioned, but Shams in particular, Alex Travers as well. That midfield combination worked so well for the Dark Blues.
Yeah, it really did, and I think the reason for that is because there were multiple threats around them. You know, really strong lines running at the right to the line, drawing the defenders, but their offloading ability and their scanning ability, being able to see what's left and right of you, recognise where your space is, where your support is. And I think that link play, having Shams in that midfield alongside Travers was a real importance for them.
Both of them so strong in midfield that even if there was a breakdown, they had the strength to make sure that the ball was there for their team, and they could then go again and link those phases together. That made all the difference to the way that Oxford were able to play.
Well, exactly, they're not just relying on their forwards to do the carries and retain the ball, they're able to do it in those outside channels and rely on their centres to be able to retain the ball, present it back.
Happy faces in dark blue. Well, let's get reaction from the camps I think Bryn Lucas has got the two captains down there. Bryn.
Yeah, I do indeed have Amelia Bushrod here. Now, it's starting off looking so good for you there. Then, of course, near the second, right at the end of the first half, you had the yellow card there. And as you come out in the second half, you are backs against the wall.
Yeah, you can't take away the credit from Oxford. They were awesome in the second half, and we played them twice this year, and they beat us there. I was impressed by our first 40 performance. You know, I really think our girls went out there and showed us what we're about. Outclassed in the second half, can't take that away from them.
You say that though, I mean, they really did push you the whole way. Every time you tried to get out into their area, get into their territory, they seemed to manage to find a way back in, and it was their sheer pace that pushed you back all the time.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it was the details that let us down. Some kicks not making touch, kicks not going where they're going. But yeah, they were great.
Ultimately though, just a few moments ago, you said you're really, really proud of your entire team.
Yeah, absolutely. You would not believe the season we've had, and I'm very, very proud of every single one out there, because they emptied the tank, they played with their heart, and you can't ask for more than that.
Amelia, well done, fantastic stuff.
Thank you very much.
Shame there for Amelia, but let's bring in the Oxford captain then, the victorious captain, Lauren Webb. First of all, Lauren, huge congratulations.
Thank you very much. No.
Now, that was one for us, it was a game of two halves really watching it. Did it feel like it for you?
Yeah, it did. I think in the first half, we sort of didn't really play our structure. I think we panicked a bit under the pressure. I think to be honest, there are a few individuals who came into the game knowing that we've had quite a strong season, and so probably relaxed a bit too much. But I'm really proud of the girls that we picked ourselves up in the changing room, because it is such an impressive thing to do, to hold your head back up once you've been knocked down a little bit.
You said just a couple of weeks ago in an interview about this match that really it was the creativity and the pace you had, the athleticism you had from your backs, and that was really kind of the story of the game.
I mean, it's classic story of rugby. The forwards do all the hard work and the backs get all the glory. But no, our backs are insanely talented individuals, and we want to build a platform which they can play and they can express themselves, and they do all their cheeky little offloads.
Oxford haven't won this since 2016. They drew it 10-all last time but didn't retain the trophy. But there you go, finally you've got your hands on the trophy. 2016 has been a long way.
It's a great feeling to now have our hands on the trophy. And I think quite a lot of people said to me, if there's a group to do it, it's this group, because we've just got not just the talent in our pack, but also just the work rate and the resilience. We've taken a lot of knocks this season, but every single time we've picked ourselves back up.
It's the hat-trick against Cambridge this time. Well done indeed. You've won it, the varsity. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, there you can see why Lauren Webb wanted to get out on the back line, to get a bit of glory. Back row is having to do the hard graft, so often unseen stuff. But Lauren Webb, with a red scrum cap, was very, very prevalent and very, very prominent.
Oh, she was, and we spoke about it moments ago. Everything that was good through Oxford, she was at some point involved in the build-up, and every time they were under pressure, she came up, making the dominant tackles, making the turnovers, putting the pressure on. And I think the work rate, that's what you expect from your back rower, and she just had buckets of it today. It seemed like she didn't run out of energy at any point.
Right, let's get down back pitch side with Bryn, who I think has got the player of the match. Bryn?
I do indeed. I have Rocky here with this amazing little medal that you're going to hand over to the player of the match. You chose Clodagh Holmes. First of all, from yourself, why did you choose Clodagh?
Oh, she's had an amazing game, and to score 4 tries, she's a danger every time she gets on ball. She's rapid and a fantastic person as well.
Absolutely. Last year didn't go to plan for you, going off injured. So nice to have a different story in 2023.
Yeah, definitely me. This is my 4th varsity match, and this is the first win, so it means so much, and I'm just so glad we've finally done it.
Absolutely. First time since 2016. Congratulations. Take your medal, shake hands and go off and get your trophy.
4 tries on her 4th blue. Not bad for Clodagh Holmes. She's a lady with some talent. We saw that last year. We saw it even more this.
Yeah, and I think, there's one thing that she's got speed and she's got great footwork and finishing ability, but actually it's the rugby smarts, recognising where she needs to be an extra player and a link player, and ultimately those tries came from her work rate, being smart, knowing where to be, and then working to get herself into that position, which is a real marker of a good player.
So the presentation party, Rob Udwin, the Vice President from the RFU, and then Mrs. Lucinda Rule and Mrs. Judy Clark from Rhino are waiting as the officials, led by referee Rebecca Piddleston, Casey Allen, Fiona Brunt, in support as ever, as they were throughout the course of the game. Good games they had. There's Amelia Bushrod now leading the light blues up, getting due applause for their efforts this afternoon. Played their part in what was a very entertaining game. Once again showing that the female varsity has a place here at HQ. It is such a special day, such an historic day, of course. And the rugby that we've seen today certainly has been upped and upped over recent years.
And you know, they may not have got the win today, but they've created memories and moments that will last a lifetime, and in years to come they'll look back and reflect on this time and recognise what a privilege and an opportunity it is to play in such a historic game at Twickenham.
Well, Oxford starting to move up and getting mobbed as the travelling reserve, Katie Cobbett for Cambridge. And here come the dark blues. The wind has certainly been blowing in their right direction, particularly in that second half. And what a performance they put in. Led by Clodagh Holmes and Chloe Marie Hawley. Of course, Captain Lauren Webb running tail gunner for this presentation. Sarah Skinner. I'm sure all those joining us from America are raising a cup of tea, cup of whatever, to the American number 8 in the Oxford ranks this afternoon. What an impressive performance from the Rhodes Scholar. Really showed so well, and as an ally to Lauren Webb in particular and Sky Stewart-Roberts, that breakaway trio was so prominent and so influential in the way that Oxford were able to play their game.
Their resilience as well, going in at half-time, down, struggled. They had an opportunity to score right at the end of the first half and didn't get over, so that resilience and that belief in that second half, and then to turn the performance on that they did.
Lauren Webb receiving the trophy that confirms the winners of the 2023 Varsity Women are Oxford University. Sophie Shams lifts it high, and those of a dark blue persuasion applaud their heroes. A big moment. Oxford with their first win in 7 years. It's been a long time since they were able to celebrate like this, and celebrate they are going to. Long and hard, you would think. I don't think you have to be a rugby player to know how to celebrate after a win like that.
There's a reason you get a tanker as one of the items to take home with you. Yeah, look, they thoroughly deserve to enjoy these moments. You know the academics that they've got coming up. Some of them will be having exams, so I don't think they'll be partying for too long, but they'll certainly enjoy tonight. As you say, they've written some of their own history today, and what a moment for them. Huge scoreline, really good, impressive season from them. They've been building, they've had an up and down season, but then to top it off and finish in this fashion, it's full credit to the hard work and determination that the whole squad have put in, and all the management and the background staff as well.
Yeah, it has been a very impressive performance, a very impressive varsity. We've seen 7 tries, 2 in the first half to Cambridge gave them the 12-5 lead at the break, but then the second half all about dark blues, all about Holmes with that quartet. 5 tries to the good means that Oxford are the Varsity Women's Champions for 2023. From Rachel Burford and from me, Simon Ward, it's very good afternoon from Twickenham.